Hello, and welcome to Spooky Town Tales, Season 2, Episode 11. I've been waiting to have an episode 11, so I could say 11, just like that.
You were waiting all the way through episode, Season 1 as well.
I was like, I've passed 11. I'm going to have to do another season just so I could do another episode 11.
Damn Sesame Street's got a lot to answer for.
It really does. If you can tell by my voice or can't tell by my voice, I'm very crook at the moment, but I'm pushing through with obviously the odd cough break. There'll be the odd coughing fit in this episode. Coughing fit.
Snap. Get your own dad joke.
But I'm going to keep going because it is perfect weather for spooky podcasts, and I know that that's one of my favourite things to do when it's rainy and bullshit outside, is have a nice hot cup of tea or a coffee or a nice shandy and listen to some friggin' creepy stuff. Now, tonight's episode is very much, sorry for the crinkling, Jimmy's eating peanut butter cups as I'm trying to record right now. As per usual, he's snacky when we record, so I even got little snackies out for him ready to go. So, tonight is going to very much represents my brain at the moment, which is a bit messed up. It's all over the place. So, another mixed bag of just weird, spooky, creepy shit that I could find for you, because I know the weirder the better. And I've got it all. Again, it's all over the place.
Parts and pieces.
So it's not a themed episode. We're not just going with one genre tonight. It's the whole lot.
You get what you get.
So welcome to the show. Get comfortable. Hope you've got a snuggly rug or the fire going, because it is going to be cold tonight. It is pouring as buggery outside. It's really coming down. It's only going to get worse. So relax, get comfortable, pour yourself a drink, and prepare to be spanked. To kick off tonight's program, I decided to I decided to feature a phenomenon, a strange phenomenon that I was yet to hear. I think Jimmy's caught my cold.
No, I'm good. Don't worry about me.
We've got to stop smooching.
Just bent my finger.
He's useless. He's useless. What are you doing?
What crap have you got to work with today?
I'm struggling as it is. You're not helping.
Smells like burnt hair.
It smells like burnt hair in here now. Fantastic. So
Me and my 8 knuckles. It's just caught on fire.
Well, on the subject of 8 and hairy.
Oh, segue. See? I knew I did it for a reason.
You're good for something. Jesus Christ. So I'd heard of this phenomenon that I'd not heard before, which is unheard of for me, because I've pretty much heard it. I've heard it all. I've got a pretty broad understanding of strange, weird, and wonderful things.
Can't surprise you with shit.
You can't. So, well, you can. You did it in the bedroom. Morning. Wasn't a fart. Surprise. Sorry, guys. We are losing focus.
You should get some
It's
sleep.
not me. You're the one being a nutbar.
You're the problem.
Excuse me one moment. I'm just going to pause the recording and go and kill my husband. Goodbye. So to get cracking this evening, I thought I'd start off with a weird creature that I hadn't actually heard of before. So I thought, why the hell not? Start with something completely new to me, because it's super duper weird. And they call them duendes or duende, I think I'm saying that right. But in other words, it's just the translation means mysterious elf. So they can vary, these creatures. And now there's documented like recordings of these throughout folklore, as well as just general people like in villages and certain towns that have said they've seen these things. And so I'm like, it's just another, because I actually started. You right?
Yeah.
Burping or you?
Just burped a little bit.
Okay, fantastic. So I thought he was gonna puke. So these little creatures can vary from 7 inches to 4 feet tall. They're often referred to as evil tricksters. They've been accused of stealing things, pulling on your blankets. They hide things, and they can turn invisible, and people have also claimed to have been bitten by them.
Really?
Now, I was all like, yeah, whatever.
It does sound very
Very, very folklore-y to scare the kids or whatever. But no, there's actually been a few of these weird little things caught on security cameras.
Oh.
Just weird little things. Like, you know, normally you think scary, you think huge, giant, looming, dark creatures. But these I find just as unsettling. Because if you look them up, Duende, look that up on YouTube and just have a little, just fall down the rabbit hole.
A bit of a peruse.
It's a bit creepy. It's a bit unnerving.
Oh,
I find it just as unsettling as everything else. But so, if there have been these things caught on security cameras in current day, well, they don't know whether that's what they are, but there's weird little people being caught on camera, and stories passed down through families of, when you put something down and you can't find it, and then you come back in the room and it's right.
Every day.
Yeah, it's in a weird spot.
Yep.
No, but that's just you. You're terrible looking.
Yeah, no.
I can't find a shirt. It's right there on top of the dresser.
You're
I
wearing
looked,
it.
and then I
You're
walk in. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so how people will sometimes blame ghosts or hauntings for these things.
Yes.
In some parts of the world, they blame these little elf creatures. And I'm going to read to you a first-hand encounter of one of these things. Well, second-hand because it happened to the mother, but so this is what people are experiencing, which is why they're like, what the frick is going on? So, when this person's mother was pregnant, they had a fight with their dad, and they'd gone to stay with an old lady that lived around the corner for the night, because they were just, obviously it was a doozy of an argument. So she'd gone to stay around the corner with this old lady, and this was at around 1 a.m.
Yeah.
The older lady had said, right, I'm going to sleep in the room with you, because the mum was 8 months pregnant and she was worried that because of the stress she was at risk of what if she goes into labour or what if something happens in the night. Yeah. Very nice old lady by the sound of it. So she was camping up, they were chatting in this room, in the spare room, just to make sure she was safe. She'd got there before 1 a.m, but around 1 a.m, they both saw a dark shadow outside the window. They were sure it was the dad coming to find her. So they went to the window to check and looked out the window and saw a short, stout, hairy figure walking away from the window. It was covered in black hair. So this is 2 people in the middle of a very personal thing.
Absolutely.
Their minds are on that. They're not dreaming up fantasy creatures. This is why I always give these ones a bit more credit, because had they have already been spooked or scared by something, or had been on a ghost tour, or they were staying in a haunted place, or it was Halloween, you could see why they'd imagine this. But they were going through something. So they were up, obviously talking out to what had happened. So they see this short little hairy creature walking from the window. It's covered in black hair. At first they thought it might be a monkey, but then they stopped and went, but there's no zoos in the area. Why would there be a monkey here? There's no monkeys native to where this was. Yeah. And that was until it turned around and they saw that it had a human face.
What?
It then proceeded, once they'd seen it, it turned and ran away. Like it went, wah! As though, oh my God,
really?
They've seen me. Yeah. But it looked straight at them with a human face.
Weird.
And both the old lady and the mother have never forgotten this and have still, to this day, don't know what the hell it was.
Totally weird.
Yeah. So that's one of many that you can find online if you want to look these things up. But I just found that really quite creepy. And the folklore is they will come into your house with the intent to get up to mischief, to pull your blankets off, to bite you, to steal your things. And apparently they have the ability to turn invisible, much like people say Bigfoot does.
Yeah.
But what creeps me out is if it looks like a monkey and it turns and has this like a human man face.
That's a bit more unsettling.
And this is something I'm really interested in looking more into, is I heard on another podcast last week, which I will totally just do a little plug for because it's one of my favourite ones. It's Jim Harold's Campfire. And if you haven't listened to that, you have to listen to it. It's incredible. They have 90-minute long episodes that they're doing.
Yeah, they are good.
They're doing at the moment. He's putting them out during the coronavirus pandemic. But his are all told by the people.
Yep.
And they're all, they're telling their own stories. It's really, really, really good podcast.
It is.
But I'd heard one of these stories on his show, which I'm totally going to look into, because this woman, and she was living in a very notoriously haunted part of England, where there'd been witch trials and all kinds of weird shit in the medieval times. So there's a lot of dark history in the area. But she said she was being affected by or followed by something that she would see in the middle of the day, but it would manifest in like an animal. So she would see, and she thought she was going nuts, but other people did see this thing that she was seeing.
Yeah.
But it always had the same eyes. So like she'd see a weird owl that wasn't quite right, and it would turn its head. And she said it wouldn't have owl eyes. It would have like these big, terrifying, cartoony eyes.
Really?
And then she saw it in another animal too, like there was a weird deer or something like that. She said multiple times she got this horrible feeling, and then she'd see this creature, like it would manifest in like a creature or but it was always, this gets me because I'm a big eye person.
You are the worst for eyes.
I'm a big eye person. I see eyes when I close my eyes at night. First thing I notice about people, I will remember people's eyes. I won't remember their names.
You're like a walking iris
Scanning
scanning machine.
eye scanner. I'll remember the colour, around the eye. I'll remember all of it, the shape of their eyes. So this got me because how freaking scary. Because I can just see it. I can see an owl. Like, the weird old creepy Halloween decorations where the eyes aren't quite right. And that's what makes them so friggin' scary. But imagine, like, seeing the back of an owl in the middle of the day. That's another thing. She's like, what freaked her out was it wasn't the time of the day with this. So whatever it was, didn't really know what an owl does.
Yeah.
It's just sort of disguised itself as an owl.
It can.
And that got me looking up jinn, which that's an Arabic ghost or demon, so to speak. Okay. And they manifest as anything and everything.
Really?
They're really creepy. I'm going to do an episode on the jinn because there's lots of terrifying, a lot of stories from ex-military, like veterans.
Really?
While they're on service experiencing them.
Ooh,
yeah, and they're proper dark. Like they're proper scary because they're supposedly demonic entities.
Yeah.
That fuck with you, basically.
Yep.
So I will be doing an episode on the jinn. Check out Jim Harold's Campfire if you can, when you can, because it is bloody good. And there's so many episodes, and he does really long episodes, which I like. So when I'm like painting the fence or something, and I'll pop it in on my headphones.
Well, that car trip took a few episodes, which was good.
It's a really good podcast, so check it out. No, it's not a paid advertisement. I just love it, and I want to share all the goodness with you because I'm a nice girl.
Oh, what a goodie.
I'm a goodie. On to the next weird subject. Now, early into, I think it was about the 4th or 5th episode, maybe the 6th of the first season, we covered a really random, weird phenomena that someone had experienced. They'd got in touch with me about this weird illuminated jellyfish. Do you remember that? Space jellyfish.
Space jelly.
And then I looked into it, and there'd been multiple cases in WA, other people had experienced it. Are you about to choke? Or are you
No,
okay?
no, just my milky voice kicked in.
Oh,
My bad just then.
Okay, right. He's not holding it together as good as I'd hoped tonight, folks.
Come on.
But hopefully you'll get through
At
the rest
least
of the
a
episode.
7 out of 10 forever.
A 7? Oh, that's a bit generous. Right. So anyway, back on the subject of space jellyfish, I just wanted to do a follow-up, or sky jellyfish, because whilst digging through archives for creepy shit for you guys, I came across something that happened in 1912 in Hobart.
Ooh,
April 9th. That is along the same lines
that's pretty cool.
as these jellyfish. So this was an account that came from Balclutha and was retold in Hobart's Daily Post in their edition, 9th of April 1912 edition. A somewhat remarkable phenomena was observed on Tuesday. An easterly rain fell more or less heavily all the forenoon. I love the wording. And just about midday, there was an extra heavy downpour of misty, thick rain, after which the ground was found to be placed thickly covered with particles of a jellyfish-like substance, the largest about the size and shape of a fingernail on a little finger. That's our puppy dog. They gradually melted away and disappeared within an hour or two. They were semi-transparent like blobs of jelly and were evidently the lowest form of animal life, known scientifically as a protoplasmic form of amoeba. How they came to be in the air is a question for theorists. A possible theory is that they were caught up in a terrific storm or sent by a marine eruption. So a jellyfish-like
Like
rain.
Is that sort of what...
Yeah, I guess they're assuming that, if there was some sort of
How crazy is that?
water spout. So that was in Tasmania in 1912. This was experienced after...
Not helping.
Excuse me one moment. I'm just going to deal with the puppy dog problem. So how bizarre is that? Another encounter with these weird...
That's totally crazy.
Which goes along my theory that perhaps there is some sort of gravity-defying, single-cellular or blob-like organism that is in our atmosphere.
But when they melt and go away...
Air pressure, because the atmosphere is thinner.
Might be too much for them.
That if they were to come down in a heavy rain,
sea level,
that maybe that's something to do with the gravity or the air pressure
That's
that they...
weird. Yeah.
Much like when you bring things up from the deep ocean,
True.
they will puff up.
Yeah.
So we don't really know what a lot of these creatures look like because when we bring them up from such a high pressure, their bodies just collapse. They're not designed to be...
Well, they put them in tanks and keep the pressure the same, but...
No, but they still can't.
You can't get them all the way up.
There are some organisms that they are still unable to get to be able to examine on the surface because they just collapse as they go.
Yeah, that's funny because when you say it that way, it's more so you would expect going from a lower pressure to a higher pressure, which you would be from coming in the atmosphere down. A higher pressure would push things apart.
Yeah.
So it'd be more
Make
chance
them
of it
dissolve.
like dissolve or melt.
Yeah, could be.
Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. What's your theories, folks? Any theories on what the hell that jelly-like substance was?
Sky jelly.
Sky jelly. Yum. Now, along the lines of a djinn, as I was just discussing, I found this story whilst researching djinns, and this was in one of those forums.
Yeah.
But oddly enough, I found two stories quite similar, which does tend to happen when I'm researching that it lines up. For some reason, it just seems to be the way.
Yeah.
So I'll read you this first one, and then I'll read you this other one that I found. Excuse me. Someone posted about a story when his maternal grandmother was on her deathbed, a cat started to appear in their home. The cat would even appear in the home when all the doors and windows were closed. It had a really bad smell and a very dirty coat, and whenever someone recited a holy verse from the Quran, it would vanish. That's our dog. Please excuse her. After the grandmother passed away, the cat would still appear, and the few times that it did, everyone in the house fell sick.
Really?
So that was the end of that. Sorry, that was an abrupt ending. But
No.
so they kept seeing this cat that would appear even
Was
when
it
everything
randomly?
was, and it would stink, but it would just vanish.
That's weird.
And when they saw it, it was when the grandmother was on the deathbed, and then the only times they saw it afterwards, everyone got sick.
That's totally weird.
So it's like an omen.
All windows and doors shut.
It's super duper weird.
Yeah.
And here's this other one that I found that's along the same lines. It's like a death cat.
Death cat.
Death cat. Good band name. So here's another really weird account with cats. My grandmother hates cats. Never would let one in the house. One night she awoke in her apartment and saw a black cat sitting on my grandfather's chest. She grabbed a nearby broom and chased the cat out of the bedroom, down the stairs, where it proceeded to run through the closed front door.
Oh dear.
Afterwards, when she returned to bed, confused, she saw that the grandfather had died in his sleep from a heart attack. Forensics actually found paw prints on the carpet.
What? No.
What say you? And it ran through the door.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to go out on a limb here and sound like a complete crazy person.
Yeah,
because I just
do
don't
it.
care. But I do believe that you get like an omen
Oh yeah. Yeah.
when something's dying or is about to die, because I have seen it myself.
Yeah. No. We had the issue. That was Horton.
Yeah.
But
Ours wasn't a cat, though. Ours was like a crouched over dog, man, weird creature next to the bed that I reached down and patted, thinking it was Horton. But it wasn't Horton. And that came with the most disgusting... Do you remember the smell?
I only got the tail end of it, but it was sulphury.
It was so pungent. It woke me up. That's what woke me up. This horrible sulphur smell. Like, so bad.
Yeah.
And then this black blob pretending to be Horton. It honestly looked like that. And it wasn't till I had this doom feeling. I'm like, what's he doing? And as I reached down, my hand went through him.
Yeah.
And then that thing disappeared. It dissipated. But that's when the smell got real bad.
Yeah.
So I know I must sound completely crazy, but this did happen. And Jimmy smelt it.
I don't think, though, that you can be a little bit too worried about being crazy. You do a podcast about anything paranormal. So the people listening, I don't
Yeah, but
think are gonna be...
I'm skeptical, though.
I know.
I don't jump straight to, yeah, no, that was definitely it. Like,
Yeah.
I tried to rationalise what the hell
Of
that
course.
was.
And you could.
And he died the next day.
Yeah.
It was very coincidental.
Ooh.
Kismet. Anyway, so what do you think? Do you think that maybe there is, like, we get little visits from
Stuff.
death creatures that tell us that someone's going to die? Death cat. We've got so many fucking cats. We don't own a cat, but we have. There's going to be bloody death cats. We've got 5 different cats that poo and vomit. Although not so much now. We've got Juniper.
True.
They're still out the front,
They're
but
out the back.
not so much out the back
No,
now.
they are. They're still under the cubby and whatnot.
All right, on to the next story. Death cats. I would pause it, but I'm just going to go. I'm just going to go straight into the next one
Keep running.
while I'm not coughing.
Go.
Okay. Black-eyed kids.
No, not these. These are the worst.
They're so gross.
Yeah.
So this one's pretty good. It's quite a long one, so
Deal with it.
deal with it. I'll try to get through it. We don't have many West Aussie stories tonight because I've been so bloody crook.
Yep.
I've done the best I could with what I had. Just give me a break.
Bloody
But your phone keeps. Okay. Okay. So this happened in 2008, and I had my one and only encounter with a black-eyed kid, says the guy that wrote the story. Before the experience, he'd never heard of anything having to do with black-eyed children. He was 12. He was sitting outside the hairdresser's in an old Chevy, waiting for his mum to get a haircut. About 15 minutes had passed, and I saw some kid walking back and forth along the sidewalk in front of the parked car. At first, I thought I recognised him as one of my friends from school, so I banged on the front windshield until he looked my way. It wasn't anyone I knew, At this point, I wasn't scared at all. Not yet. The boy walked over to the side of my car and just stares. I think to let me get a good look at his eyes to freak me out. Let me tell you, if you've never seen a black-eyed kid, you have no idea what to imagine. Pupils were as black as night. The boy whispered to me, "You must let me in." Then I locked the car doors and ducked down into the space below the seats. 5 minutes later, he was gone. When my mother got into the car, she told me that a boy with black eyes had come into the hairdresser's and insisted for my mother to give him the keys to the car. She refused.
Whoa,
Thank God she did.
Holy shit.
I'm sorry, if a kid comes into the hairdresser's asking for the keys to your car where your son is with black fucking eyes, why the hell would you still just no, you can't have them, off you go?
It's a black-eyed child, just gonna have a go, man.
But would you not, as a mother, go, alarm
I
bells?
might go and have a look and see what's going on here. Hello.
Hello, what have we got here? That's a bit odd. No, look, Susie, my hair's more important. I have to get this bloody perm in. It's country club night. It's footy night. Got to go to the footy club and have some beers. I need my hair to be perfect.
Come on, there's some important hairdos.
Oh, man. Is there, though? Is there really a hairdo that's worth? Unless your kid's been a little ass and you've chucked...
Locked him in the car.
You've said you can wait there because you've been an ass.
Of course, those times happen. We've all been those kids.
We have. So this one struck a nerve with me because I've been in the position of trying to keep a child happy and quiet at night so the other working parent can sleep.
Oh dear.
And so this one struck a nerve. And those of you that are parents, you know, when your baby's asleep, you'll do anything to keep them asleep. Anything. Even if it means rocking back and forth on one foot because that's how they've fallen asleep. But if you put your other foot down, they wake up, you do whatever the hell you got to do. So, on to the story. Sorry about that. Last night, it was like any other night. I was switching between listening to music and watching YouTube videos with one headphone in so I could hear my infant daughter if she cried. That way, my wife can get a full night's sleep. She works a 4 a.m. shift at the hospital every day. When I decided to go lay down in the spare bed in the baby's room, just as I dozed off, I heard a thumping coming from the front porch. Startled at first, I opened my eyes wide and scanned the room. Realising it was most likely my cat scratching himself on the front porch, I dozed back off. Then again, the thumping. Damn cat, as you would, you're going to wake the baby up. So I got up out of bed to run him off the porch, only to see he wasn't there anymore. Now that I was up again, I wasn't the least bit tired. I figured I'll just get some tea and check Facebook while I'm up. Maybe finish a web series I was watching on YouTube. Mm-hmm. A few minutes into the video, I felt a sudden urge to look up at the kitchen window. There they were. The tops of two short-statured people's heads cresting the stairs just above my window frame. The people were just short enough to not see in the window, but I could see out. I heard no footsteps on the porch, and my stomach turned. But the knock, knock, knock was steady, hollow thump. The very same thump I blamed on the cat. Deciding it was best not to answer, I shut my laptop and crept back to the baby's room. I assumed it was some people from a low-income housing across the road that were high and hiding from the cops, or maybe looking for my cousin who stays with me often and has many friends over there. The last thing I needed was to try and explain to two stoners that I was trying to sleep even though it was 2 a.m. Mm-hmm. It wasn't until I got into my daughter's room that the creepiness set in. The thump had moved from the kitchen to the bedroom windows, both windows, a room apart, thumping in perfect time. These stoners were going to wake up my daughter if I didn't run them off. Pissed off, I went out to the kitchen, unlocked and opened the door, ready to run outside to the side of the house and kick some little idiot's ass. It happened then. Standing there, looking up at me, were two 10 or 11-year-old boys. The feeling of dread and the smell of mould almost made me vomit. The smaller of the two spoke. "May we use your telegraph?" "Huh?" I just stared blankly at these boys, horrified of what I realised. Their eyes were pitch black. He asked to use my telegraph.
Holy crap.
There wasn't a sound to be heard, no crickets chirping, no dogs barking, no cars driving by, nothing. I tried to play it cool and ignore the fact that he didn't say telephone or phone or cell, anything that would have made sense in the situation, and I calmly replied, "I don't have service at my house, sorry." The expression of their faces turned to rage as I finished the sentence. I swiftly shut the door and locked it as quickly as I could, then stumbled back to protect my daughter. I picked her up from the crib and held her close. The fact that she didn't wake up freaked me out the most, but I managed to gather my senses enough to make sure she was still breathing and warm. Everything seemed okay with her. The thumping on the windows was back. I dropped to the floor, as close to the wall as I could, and held my little girl in my arms and wept like a little child. I felt helpless and afraid. I lied there for what felt like hours, crying and shaking until I heard my wife's alarm clock. The thumping stopped the instant the alarm went off, and I crept into the master room with the baby. "What's wrong with you?" my wife asked. "I just had a bad dream, is all I could mutter out. "Okay, well, give me the baby so I can feed her." I handed my wife the baby. She fed her like any normal day. I turned on every light in the house and made coffee for her. For some reason, just having her awake calmed my nerves enough to pretend like nothing happened. I walked her out to the car nervously, with the baby in my arms, and asked her not to leave until I walked back into the house. She was put off by the request, but did so to humour me. Once I was safely in the house, I locked the door again, and in the house I sat horrified until she got home. I insisted we go to the next town over and stay the weekend at my brother's house, and here I sit horrified while she sleeps in the guest room with my daughter, wondering why they stopped when the alarm went off. I think I know the best answer. I was aware of black-eyed kids. She wasn't. Every story I've read about them is from someone who already knew about them. Maybe, just maybe, knowledge of them existing is the reason for one of them to visit.
Don't say that now.
I know. Oops. Sorry, guys.
What a wrecker.
Expect a knocking at the door.
God.
Could he have had a dream?
It's early enough to.
And he's been dozing all night. Like he said, he's been asleep, he's woken up, he's been asleep, he's woken up.
You know when you're at your front door.
Yeah, but you know how he'd said he'd fallen asleep lying down?
Yeah.
What if he's
Dreamed it,
and when he's woken up he's thought it had happened? Because there's no evidence. There's no evidence to prove that it actually happened.
No.
And if he had prior knowledge of it, he might have had a bad dream about it.
Yeah.
Web series he was watching might have been a Black Eyed Kids one. Might have been a spooky one.
This is true.
See, I told you I'm skeptical. But then again, still very, very creepy.
Totally creepy.
Enough to give you the creeps. And I had my scariest sleep paralysis experience when I was horribly, horribly sleep deprived in the baby trenches.
Yeah.
And that was when we had both babies by then.
Yeah.
And our two are under 2 years apart. And our first baby was a terrible sleeper. And so even when we'd had the second baby, I was up with both of them regularly, multiple times in the night.
Yeah.
So I was horribly, horribly sleep deprived. And I'd had a really crappy run. And sleep deprivation does do weird things. Like it was the most vivid sleep paralysis I've ever had was during that window of sleep deprivation. So you're almost in a half dream, half real life state.
Yeah.
In like when you do sleep, because you're dozing, because you're keeping yourself, you're trying to stay semi-awake so you can hear the babies.
Yeah, but you don't want to be.
So you're never fully sleeping. So you're kind of in between worlds. It is a very surreal feeling.
Yeah.
Which is how I can rationalise maybe he dreamt this.
Yeah.
And when he woke up, he just didn't know that he dreamt it. Perhaps.
It's true. It's a very, very logistical way of going about it. It makes sense.
Logistical?
Logistical, you know what I mean. Logical.
That's the word.
Speak with your own words, Jimmy.
The biggest thing that makes me think that this was all caused by that state of sleep deprivation and that he's dreamt but he's not known what was real and what was a dream was the fact it could have very well been the cat thumping.
Yeah, because he was already expecting it.
Yes, it was obviously a familiar sound.
Yep.
And so then he's fallen back asleep thinking about that.
Yeah.
What if the whole thing was a dream?
Exactly. Yeah.
That's what I think. What do you think?
That's crazy.
Write on in. Let us know what you think.
Creepy regardless.
Creepy, just the same. Jimmy, stop burning the paper, please. Okay. Here's some ghost stories for you. That's if I'm not a ghost before the end of this recording.
Oh, come on.
Let's set fire to our room.
Didn't even.
Or shall I say our studio? You're going to set fire to this studio.
You make our bedroom sound so fancy.
Shh. It's a studio, okay? We're profesh. We're legit. We're serious podcasters. I've gone from newbie to novice now. Come on, give me some credit.
Have to write a sign up, stick it on the door.
Yeah, recording in progress. Bugger off. Here's some ghost stories. When I was younger, I spent the day helping my neighbour rake the leaves on his property. He was friendly with my family, so he walked me home to say hi to my parents. When we walked into the house and heard my mum upstairs talking, it sounded like she was on the phone and walking around. I called for my dad. No answer. My neighbour says, "Well, it sounds like your mum's on the phone. I'll catch him another time." We say goodbye and he leaves. I go upstairs to see my mum, but I can't seem to find her or hear her anymore. I search the house and it's empty. I'm thinking, did she leave the house while I was saying goodbye to the neighbour somehow? I call my dad's cell. My mum didn't have one, and he picks right up. I ask him where he is and if he knows where mum went. We're at the store. We've been running errands for a couple of hours.
Ooh.
He got instant goosebumps. My neighbour and I both heard footsteps upstairs and a woman's voice. No idea who or what it was, but we both heard it. Naturally, I waited outside till my parents got home.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Good one.
Creepy. Simple, but creepy.
Very good.
We've all had that. Where you hear someone in the house and you just assume you're used to it, especially if you've got a big family.
Yep.
Or in our case, not a huge family, but there's 4 of us in a small house and we have pets.
Yeah.
So you write every noise off as just, oh, it's one of them.
Yeah.
It's not till you're home alone and then you hear noises that you go, oh, maybe that's not so great. Oh, no, it's so great.
Oh, no, it's not so great.
Here's another one. Now here's one that's not so much scary, but more just like, huh. My sister was home alone and I was out shopping with a friend. I called her to ask what t-shirt she wanted from the store that I was at, and she told me she was scared that there was a ghost in the house. I asked what had happened. She said she put a hot pocket in the microwave and gone into her room to change. While she was changing, she heard the microwave go off, signalling that her hot pocket was done. We have a small house. The kitchen and living room are open and connected and her room opens into the living room, so it's pretty close. She could hear it pretty clear. She comes out of her room to grab the hot pocket, but instead of it being in the microwave, it was out on the living room coffee table, all warmed up. If that had happened to me while I was alone, I would have been out of there in a flash.
Wow.
Very strange.
Very strange.
Not so scary, more like, thanks, guy.
Unless there was like someone broke in and...
Just went, oh,
Oh, set that up for them?
you know what? I'm just going to pop that hot pocket there
I
for
thought
him.
you were going to say it was going to disappear.
Or a bite out of it.
Yeah, that would have been heaps cooler.
I don't know. I like the thought of there being an intruder that's just gone, I'm taking your candlesticks, but I'm going to pop your hot pocket on the table.
Got your silverware, but
It's like his conscience clearer, or her conscience. I shouldn't be sexist and say only robbers are men. Poor men. God, they really cop it, don't they? Yeah. So what do you think? Do you think she's just done it and not realised she's done it?
Yeah. We've all done that sort of thing before.
Or she's made a hot pocket, forgotten she's made a hot pocket, gone back to put one in the microwave, gone to get changed, come back and gone, oh, hang on. I've done that before.
Yeah, that's very possible.
I've made a cup of coffee before.
Yeah.
And then put it down somewhere and then gone and, oh, I was making a cup of coffee.
I better go finish
Better
that.
go make a cup of coffee. And then you walk past the lounge and go, oh, hang on.
Oh, the coffee.
Oh, Jesus. Or sometimes you'll just be standing there eating a bit of toast and you'll have no memory of making the piece of toast. Like, when did I... What? I've just operated hot, burny toaster. I have no memory of making this toast.
Yeah.
Or is that just me?
No, we all do that, I'm sure.
Perhaps I should get a cat scan.
What for? We don't have a cat.
I'll go scan a cat. Now I'm going to finish off the show with a West Australian, a Bunbury UFO sighting.
Ooh,
it's a short and sweet one. But before I do, this isn't so much an encounter, but it's just something I wanted to put in your head because it's what I like to do is get you thinking, creep you out.
Wow.
Now, a lot of people who I have sort of read about that get into the paranormal generally have had some sort of weird thing happen as a kid. Now, I have had lots of weird things happen as a kid.
Yeah.
A lot of which I was told to stop imagining, go back to bed. The robber that's breaking into the house isn't really there, even though he is there and he's going to steal my car later, and then I'm going to go, oh shit, that was a robber. These sorts of things, they stick with you. Mm-hmm. And especially when you get confirmation.
Yeah.
So, one of my biggest fears growing up, and this is a lot of people's, was hearing a noise at the window, pulling the curtain back and seeing a face.
Of course.
Now, that's happened to me more than once.
Yeah.
Have I actually pulled that curtain back and seen a face. For real.
Yeah.
And it is fucking terrifying. And it stays with you. As a result, I do what I do every night with our curtains. As soon as it gets dark, it's like everything has to be seamed.
Yeah.
I don't think I could live in a house that has those big glass panes where you don't have any curtains or blinds, even if we're out living.
Yeah. You can't fishbowl.
I've got a thing about, fish bowling.
You can't.
And it does stem from a childhood of seeing a lot of burglars and robbers and literally coming face to face.
Yeah.
One time, this is the scariest, was when I had that stalker.
Yeah.
And I heard something, and I turned the light off and turned around, and their face almost pushed against the window through my bamboo blinds was this pale, skinny man just staring through the window.
Gross.
Effing terrifying. So I just wanted to put that thought into your head because I'm thinking of doing an episode all on creepy shit people see through their windows.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
Because I heard a few stories. There was one girl who lived on a reservation in the US, and she saw a creepy monster face through her curtain. And she lived way too far away from anyone to be able to get help. She was out in the middle of nowhere.
Gross.
And she lived alone.
Ew.
So, I know, utterly terrifying, but that's what I like to do. I like to scare the absolute bejesus out of people. So I'm calling out to anyone out there that's ever, even if you think you saw something but you're not sure, what is your biggest fear of what is it that you're scared of seeing? Is it eyes? Is it humans, like intruders? Are you scared of seeing a beast of some sort? Is it aliens? I know another huge one is aliens. People have this
No, it makes
terrifying fear of seeing a little green man looking through their window. Are you scared? What are you scared of?
Everything.
No, you're not. You don't believe in anything.
No, yeah, that's right. No, intruders I think would be the worst. I think that's not cool.
I'm asked. It's a call out now. I want to do an episode on windows. Creepy shit out of windows. So if you've ever seen anything or heard anything at your window, write in a story.
Do it.
Send them to me. We're going through a bit of a drought at the moment, and I'm sick. Help me out. Help a gal. Help a girl out and send me some stories. I know they're out there. Send them in for the poor sicky McGee. Here's the UFO story. Bunbury, 1981, 25th of August. Bunbury, Western Australia. A formation of objects was reported by 3 men off the coast. 15 odd, bright silver objects travelling in formation about 2 kilometres offshore were noted. They hovered at one time, then moved north rapidly and suddenly shot up vertically without changing speed. There was no other aircraft in the area. That is exactly what I was explaining this morning.
Yeah.
When, in the 90s, I would stargaze and I would see these things that look like stars, that they'd start moving sideways, like left and right, and then they'd just shoot vertically up, like straight up.
Yeah, no, that's totally weird. I mean, you can sort of explain it away more these days because drones are a thing, but
yeah, this is before drones.
Yeah.
But the I don't know why I'm making noises. Oh, God.
See, don't say I don't give you anything. I give you the ability to make terrible noises.
He's rubbing up on me. Send help. Send. Anyway, I had the theory, as I have many theories, that perhaps you get weird optical illusions that occur. One of which we witnessed the other night was something called a moonbow.
Yeah, they're cool.
Now, you only witness moonbows when the air temperature is super cold.
Just right.
Has to be the exact temperature, and the Earth has to be tilted on just the right angle so that the moonlight is reflecting through these, and they're actually ice particles that cause this illusion, and you get these amazing formations of circular light in the sky.
Donuts.
It's pretty. It's very, very pretty, but it's actually light reflecting off ice particles. So you only see them when it's very cold evenings. So, my theory with a lot of UFO sightings is perhaps they are meteorological, just standard phenomena that's happening. Nothing supernatural. That it's like meteorites or asteroids or whatever. But the way, because the Earth is arched, and because of air pressure and the way our eyes view light, is we're not going to see things all the time in a straight line. Surely there's points of the Earth through our eyes looking where it will appear to go off straight up, but perhaps it's not. Perhaps it's still travelling in a straight line, but the way our eyes view the light itself, that it kind of gets, what's the word I'm looking for?
Don't know. Man.
Oh, man.
No, I'm not good with words.
Not diffused, but like it kind of refracts.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
It kind of, we might view things.
Yeah. It gets
to look a certain way.
In a way that you can't really line it up.
Yeah. So it just goes to show there's more to our eyes and the way we view things.
Yeah. There's a lot that can't be explained because we haven't worked
We don't have the science yet.
Yeah.
It's not to say that it's something supernatural. Yeah. But I am a bit excited having a chat with an individual this morning. I won't mention his name because he might not want me to talk about it on the show. But discussing that within 2 years there might be the technology to view planets in the neighbouring solar system and test what their atmosphere is made of.
Oh, that'd be cool.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
Be able to see whether there's more Earths, like more habitable. I need to go to sleep.
Hospital planet.
Hospital planet. That would be handy. That'd be handy during this pandemic. Just rocket them all off there. Anyone that tests positive off to the hospital planet. You're a prime candidate for the hospital planet. Let's get you up there.
Get that guy on a rocket.
Let's get this guy on the rocket. You're out of this world, buddy. Thank you for listening to us ramble on again for another episode and shoot the shit. It was, again, this time was particularly higgledy-piggledy, I do apologise. But I'm going to be delving into some very strange genres, subgenres of the supernatural world for the next few months. As we are leading up to Halloween, which is my favourite time of year.
No.
I'm so freaking excited. I'm so excited. I'm starting to make decorations this week because they're going to take a long time. You'll see why. You'll see what I'm up to. I'll keep you posted on the Southern Paranormal page. If you have a story, write them in. If you have feedback for things I've talked about on the show, please let me know. Write them in. I love hearing from you. It makes my day. I absolutely love it. And if you have a story, you can remain completely anonymous so no one has to know. I know this is a slightly taboo subject, There are those of us that are a little bit don't really care.
Hesitant.
Yeah, which I totally understand, because
Yeah.
it is one of these subjects that you don't just burst out over a cup of tea with your work colleagues, but you can with me, and I'm not going to judge you. So come on down, send through your stories. I'd love to hear from you, and stay safe, and make sure you're staying home, especially if you're elsewhere. We're in WA, we're doing pretty good here, but everywhere else seems to be pretty bad still, and it's terrifying. So please stay home and stay safe. Wash your hands. Wear a mask. Don't be a jerk. Be kind. Love one another. Eat chocolate because life's too short.
Yes.
And we will see you next week. Thanks for tuning in, folks. And remember to stay creepy. Bye.
Bye.